We're now into the final 3 races of the season, finishing with a triple header nonetheless, led by none other than Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Grand Prix is now in its 2nd year, with the race taking place over 50 laps of the 6.2 kilometer circuit. I've got a separate video covering the setup of Las Vegas from my time there in the city last month. So if you haven't checked it out, you should. It's really interesting to see the setup procedure of an F1 circuit and what a city like this goes through when setting up a race when Formula 1 is headed into town. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check that out. Back to the race at hand though, technically the driver with the most wins at Las Vegas is Max Verstappen because, well, he's the only winner at Las Vegas, as he won last year's race. The track has 16 official corners, but again, some of those aren't really corners. The highlight of the race is probably the long straight down the Las Vegas Boulevard, also known as the Strip. While a straight isn't particularly interesting, the layout in general isn't that interesting. It's fair to say it looks cool. You can't deny that seeing a Formula 1 car, sometimes 2 abreast or 3 abreast, down the Las Vegas Strip, I mean, that looks good, doesn't it? The circuit has 2 DRS zones, one down that strip section and the second in between turns 4 and 5, as you head down towards the Sphere. The Sphere, that's an interesting thing. I got a few videos of that when I was in Las Vegas. A burger, anyone? The DRS zone at the end of the strip is definitely the best overtaking point on the circuit, but it's so long that you can sometimes be vulnerable to multiple cars. I can imagine Sergio Perez still has nightmares about being overtaken by Charles Leclerc at the end of the straight on the final lap last year. You might also remember that the circuit was incredibly slippery last year. There was a real struggle for the cars at the beginning of the race into turns 1 and 2. I'm not sure if that same slipperiness is going to be there this year after the circuit had time to bed in from its laying, but just be aware, especially in those early sessions, it might be difficult for the drivers out there. This weekend, the Pirelli tyre offerings are the C3, C4 and C5 compound tyres, the softest available in the Pirelli range. Let's talk weather. It's going to be dry, and that's the important thing, but it's also going to be very cold, much like it was last year. Friday will be roughly 16 degrees for FP1, going down to only 13 degrees for FP2. Similar temperatures on Saturday for qualifying, with somewhere in between for the race on Sunday. Mercedes haven't been doing well lately, but they do tend to run better in cooler conditions. Just for reference, the 2 coldest dry races this year were Silverstone and Spa, and Mercedes won both. But it was really cold at Vegas last year, and Mercedes finished 6th and 8th, so I'm not expecting much. RB are making a big change for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. From Vegas onwards, they will be using the RB20 suspension and gearbox, which is well within the rules before anyone says anything. Currently, they're using the Red Bull gearbox and suspension from the RB19. They did the same thing last year, upgrading to that RB19 suspension at the Singapore Grand Prix, which actually gave them a big uptick in performance. They will likely carry through this RB20 suspension to next year's car as well. We have a few special liveries to report on also. Sauber have added some flames to their stake livery, but I suspect they won't be setting the timing screens ablaze with their performance in Vegas. I'm still expecting them to be propping up the timesheet at the bottom. Williams are keeping their yellow addition to their engine cover that they had in Mexico and Brazil, but with an extra sponsor called Keeper, a sponsor that comes after Franco Colapinto was promoted to a drive within the team. Alpine have the biggest change, opting to head back to a pink livery for the last 3 races of the season. Very striking. While pink isn't my first choice, the blue on its own looks fantastic. I do think all pink, or mostly an all pink car, looks better than a blend of pink and blue. So at least Alpine are going to stand out for the last 3 races. There also may be something coming from Ferrari as well. They have a tie-in with the new Gladiator 2 film, with the drivers attending the premiere before heading to Vegas. As of recording this video though, nothing has been shared officially, so I expect as soon as I hit publish on this video, they will post the livery. That's just how it goes. Finally, Formula 1 have published an entire rerun of last year's race on their YouTube channel. If you didn't watch it or want a recap, head over to the YouTube channel and get watching. As for this weekend's race, I'll see you there, bright and early.